Okay, check, 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 check. Mic 1, 2, 3. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. I'm back here, and hopefully I can be heard. If I can't, oh well. Today's today's exercise is cut array into smaller parts. Python from Code Wars. Back in the Code Wars, back with Python. Back home. Okay. Write a function make parts that will take an array as an argument and the size of a chunk. So takes an array and the size of a chunk. Your arguments are going to be a list in Python and an integer indicating the size of a chunk. Not a lot of explanation here, but let's look at this example. If an array of size 1, 2, 3 is given and a chunk size is 10, there will be 13 parts, 12 of size 10 and 1 of size 3. Kind of a bad example because it's just so large. An array, a list or an array of 123 items, you break it up by tens. Let's instead look at the test cases here on the bottom right to see what's really going on. Let's slide down here. Here we see the inputs for this first test case. A list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then an argument of 2. So those are their two arguments, the list and the integer. And the result is a two-dimensional list where each sublist is it's a chunk of the original list, and its size is the same size as the second integer argument. Here each chunk is of size 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you notice that 5 only has one element because that is what is left over. So the last sublist it may not be the specified size because there may not be enough left over. So if that is the case, then you just put what is left. That is a brilliant explanation, isn't it? So yeah, each chunk or each sublist is going to be the size of the second argument. Looking at the next example, 1, 2, 3, and 1. So with this one, each chunk is going to be size 1. So each sublist is 1. Very good, very good. I know you guys are getting this out there. You're picking it up. Look at the third situation. Have a list and the chunk size is 10. Well, there's only 5 elements in this list. So a chunk size of 10 would return just the entire list as a sublist. So there you go. We're going to break the original list into sublist chunks of the size of the second argument. That's what we're doing. So let's get in here and do it. I'll expand and increase here. Yep. Gonna make some chunks. All jokes aside, I'm sure you guys have got jokes out there. Chunk it up. Okay. So I'm gonna first do this kind of the longer way, then I'm gonna do it in the list comprehension way because this solution can definitely be done in list comprehension. So I'm going to make a two-dimensional list situation. So I need to create a list to put the two-dimensional chunks in, as they say. And then I'm going to loop. So the dimensions here is I'm going to use options of the range to actually create my chunks, so to speak. Let's take a look at a sample situation. Let's say I got this list and I want to do chunks of 2. Well, of course I'll start at index 0, and I'm going to create a chunk of 1 and 2, a sublist. On the next iteration, if I was doing a normal range, on the next iteration I would get to 2, and it would end up making a chunk of 2 to 3, which I don't want to do. What I want to do is jump. So I want to do 1, 2, and then jump to 3, 4. So I don't want to iterate consecutively one at a time. I want to be on the one I'm on and then jump 2 forward. So I've got to change my range options. So really what I want to do is, once I've got this 1, 2 chunk, and let's say I is here, I want to jump to this 3 and put I here and make a chunk here. And then I want to jump 2 more and make this 5 a last chunk. Gotta love saying chunk, right? All good. Okay. So how I do that in the range is, remember range, the setup or the options are, is start, stop, and step. Well, step is when you basically skip a certain amount, and my jumping here is going to be, I'm going to want to skip, where I want to start on this index 0 and then skip to index 2, then skip to index 4. Step is the skip. And to be able to use step, I've got to use the 3 argument version of range. So I'm going to start at index 0 with my range. I'm going to stop at a traditional stop, the length of my array or my list. And then my step is going to be 2. My step is 2. And here's something you can remember about step. Step really says that you are going to skip 1 less than the number that's put there. So I'm going to skip 1 in between using a 2. And so I'll go to the next line. And yeah, that's how I'm going to do it. 0, length of the list, and then step of 2. That's how I'm going to end up jumping after every chunk. So now I can make a chunk, and I can do that with slicing, where I can just append to the 2D list. I can append a slice, which will be a sublist, really. So I'll do this. I'll go starting at I and then ending at the chunk size plus I. Because of course, as I moves forward, as I moves forward, the ending point is going to be the chunk size plus I. I can't simply have chunk size by itself here, because chunk size in the original example, chunk size is 2, and of course I is going to eventually get past 2, probably after the first iteration. So the ending's got to be chunk size plus I, so that as I moves to the right, chunk size is offset by the right amount. I don't know if that's the right term, but you guys probably know what I mean. So move some spaces here. All right, so we got our sub list. Line 4 is going to create the sub list and append it to 2D. And I'm going to erase my drawings. After this, I simply return 2D because it's going to contain the chunks. Gotta love the containment of chunks. So I'm going to test this, see where we get. Oh yeah, I can't just go by 2. It's got to be chunk size because I hard coded it. So don't hard code it. You got to use the size that it's supposed to be. There we go with that. There we go with that. Great. Now I'm going to show you all real quick how to do this with a list comprehension. If you don't know what list comprehension is, it is a way to create and populate a list using a for loop all on a single line. It is a way to condense your code, really, where I can take lines 2, 3, and 4 and turn it into one line, and also return it on the same line. And I'll show you how the conversion works. Here we go. I'll just grab the header and I'll do this. And really I can just grab, I'll just grab the header here because it'll go in, fit in nicely. And I'll make my sub list. Yeah, so here is list comprehension, creating a two-dimensional list where you see the outer brackets and you see the inner brackets. Yeah, and I think there's too many brackets. This is not right. There, that's it. So I'm going to create my sub list here with the slice. Yeah, for each turn, whoops, screwed that up. For each turn of the loop, I'm creating a slice, which is a sub list, and then appending it to the overall list. Kind of the same thing as line 4. So I'll delete the first part, or maybe I'll comment it out. And let's run or test. Looks good there. Looks good there. So there you have it, y'all. Let me expand it out here again. And here you are, 2 solutions to this exercise. So with that, I'm good and I'm out of here. I hope you're good, and I'll see you next time that I make one of these videos. See y'all later.